Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Elated by the pleasant surprise, Ellen took a small bite of the meat. Its smooth yet juicy texture elicited a smile on her face. It's delicious. The duo enjoyed their dinner until 8 p.m., after which Jared gave her a ride back home. She alighted from the car and waved at him. "Be careful on your way back." He blinked at her as an acknowledgement. The control panel exuded faint blue light, which shrouded him in a glowing sheen with a touch of sophisticated grace. Only when he left the place that she finally sent her address to Selena, who would arrive soon. Ellen wandered outside the neighborhood to buy some necessities. By the time Selena's car halted at the entrance, Ellen happened to be there with a bag of daily necessities. "You live here?" Selena scanned the area in disbelief, because she was aware no ordinary people would be able to afford a house there. Never had she imagined that Ellen would be this rich after Jessica's house was demolished. "Yup, for the time being." Ellen reciprocated. Selena carried her luggage into the neighborhood when Ellen became curious about something. "Where are Uncle Connor and Aunt Olivia going? Is it something important?" "Dad's friend passed away, so they'll be helping with the funeral for the next few days." "I'm scared." Selena made up an excuse for herself. Since she had set her heart to approach Jared by leveraging Ellen, she put down her egoism. On the other hand, Ellen bought her lies without a shadow of a doubt since she did not know her family that well. When they arrived at the door to Ellen's place, Selena wondered if the rental house comprised only one bedroom. However, her eyes widened in astonishment the second Ellen opened the door. "She lives here? It's huge and luxurious. And how is this a one-bedroom house? It stretches more than 200 square feet. Ellen, how much is the monthly rent?" The question escaped Selena almost instantly. Ellen recalled the conversation she shared with Joanna, who told her not to reveal that employee welfare included accommodations, so she glossed it over. "About 5,000. Selena deemed it impossible. "No way. That cheap?" The owner was in a hurry to leave the country. "That's why," Ellen elucidated. Selena stopped prying further on the notion that it was better to stay in such a place than a one-bedroom apartment. After her shower, she entered Ellen's room on her own accord. She became salty at Ellen, who was donned in a thin nightgown. She appeared slim, but she had the curves that one desired. Her body proportion was the epitome of perfection. Her slick tress fell over her shoulders, covering her angelic features and smooth skin. "Ellie, I can't sleep. Let's have a girls' talk." Selena planned on digging into Jared because girls tend to be more sentimental at night. They naturally spilled secrets when they lowered their guard. "Ellie, do you meet President Presgrave every day?" There went her first question. Ellen thought for a moment. "Almost. I'm in charge of making him coffee." Selena did not look down upon that job, for she desired to take over that position. Too bad, she was not offered the chance. "Ellie, tell me more about him." "I'd love to hear more." It was not like Ellen could not see through her intentions. Thus, an idea sprouted in her mind as she nodded. "Sure, there's this one beautiful lady he knows." "What? A beautiful lady?" "Yeah. She's really pretty and seemed to be from a rich family. They're quite close. I think they're going out." Selena blurted, "He's taken?" "Who said he was single?" "Of course, he has one." Ellen put on a serious face while making up a story, hoping it would stop Selena from bothering Jared. Ellen's words hit home, setting turmoil in Selena. "Jared has a girlfriend? She must be someone extraordinary. I have outstanding merits, but there's always someone better out there." "Ellen, are you sure about this?" She held on the chance that Ellen saw it wrongly. "No cap. Ellen nodded seriously, putting her plan into operation. Selena, do you perhaps have feelings for President Presgrave? A deflated Selena did not hide the truth. So what if I like him? He's already taken. Selena, I bet there's a lot of people lining up for you out there. Why don't you choose someone from an influential family to be your husband? I think President Presgrave is off limits. He will never fall for someone ordinary like us, Ellen advised. Still, Selena gave her an eye roll. Not me. Ellen returned a smile instead of getting angry. Yeah. I'm the only one. You studied abroad, at least. Yup. And I am a graduate of a privileged school. Selena's eyes twinkled with pride. It was, in actuality, a hoax because she paid someone to write her thesis. You're a genius, Selena. How did you enroll in that university? It piqued Ellen's interest because Selena had always had poor grades, let alone scoring on the SAT. Therefore, how was it even possible for her to study in a recognized school? Selena sneered. One pulled some strings. Dad has his connections. I told him I want to get into that university. And they offered me a place a few days later. You have no idea how happy I was. Never once had Selena opened up to her toxic friends, so she felt like bringing up her remarkable past she took pride in. Really? Uncle Connor's the best. Ellen feigned envy. He sure is. Selena was proud to have a father like Connor, who granted every of her wish. It took him a phone call to get me a position in Presgrave Group. Then, she wondered how Ellen got a job in the company. Did you pass the interview with flying colors? The doubt plaguing Ellen's mind was finally answered, so she reconfirmed. Uncle Connor helped you with that? Yep. He called one of the senior employees. Selena nodded. I think Uncle Connor helped me too. She mustn't know about this, or she'll throw a fit at him. Therefore, Ellen led. As you've guessed, I passed the interview. Selena observed the attractive Ellen while thinking that receptionists were indeed dolls. Next, she steered the topic back. Tell me more about Mr. Presgrave. Ellen was helpless. I don't know what else to talk about. What about that gorgeous lady you mentioned? Who is she? Is she a celebrity or someone rich? Not the former, but she appears to be from a rich family. She has that air around her. Ellen continued faking. Selena did not doubt one bit of her story. Judging from Jared's identity, it was nearly impossible that he was all women would throw themselves at a capable man like him, so that marked the end of Selena's sweet dreams. But why does the treat you to special? She could not understand why Jared noticed a newcomer like Ellen amongst the employees. It's probably because of my circumstances. Ellen added, I once cried at work when I bumped into him. He asked, and I told him that Grandma left. I seem pitiful now that I'm all by myself. I knew it. She planned it from the start. She acted pitifully in front of him to make him empathize with her. And here I am, thinking that he had fallen for her. Selena was scornful. Seeing how she believed in her words, Ellen began to let her storytelling shine through. President Presgrave is an empathetic man. Back then, Uncle Garrett and the others were trying to rip me off when the demolition was confirmed. I accidentally spilled the beans, and the rest is what you witnessed in the lobby. He knew I was getting bullied, so he helped me out. Selena finally grasped the situation. No wonder President Presgrave is so protective of her. He knew of her situation. Ellen exclaimed, he's been helping me so much, but I don't know how to repay his kindness. That's why I treated him to a meal. You were there too. It pricked Selena's guilty conscience to recall that day. She coughed wryly. I was just hanging out with my friends. It was a coincidence. I know. So, Selena, please do not misunderstand things between me and President Presgrave. He did all that out of pity. Selena seemed to be in a good mood. At least, things were not as she thought. She initially assumed that Ellen was going to be Jared's girlfriend and would look down upon them the day she became a rich man's wife. Now, it seemed like it was a mere act out of pity and empathy. It was nothing remotely close to affection. "I bet you have his private contact number. Can you give it to me?" Selena suddenly thought of getting in touch with Jared virtually. "If I have his number, I can flirt with him at times. What if I succeed?" Ellen shook her head immediately. "That's a big no-no. President Presgrave personally highlighted that his contact number is solely for business. He will get angry if we bother him with personal matters. Besides, he already has a girlfriend. What if she gets jealous? That will put us in trouble. I just want to save his number. I won't bother him." Selena pouted. "Still, what if you ticked off his nerves? He'll lash out at me for sure. I can't do this, Selena. Why are you such a coward?" Selena was perturbed. "You don't know how scary it was when he gets angry. I saw him getting mad at an assistant who sent him documents for signatures." She even wept. The indifference on Jared's face whenever he was silent conjured in Selena's mind as though he had a danger sign on him. His sheer gaze could send chills down one's spine, let alone when he was in a foul mood. "So, is there seriously no hope for us?" Selena was being hopeful. "We should know our place, Selena." "Forget it," reminded Ellen. Selena could not accept her fate after all those sweet dreams in which she got married to Jared that she had during the night. Once she left the room, Ellen instinctively sighed in relief. She thought of her own words, which did not seem to be directed at Selena but at herself. After all, it was enough to admire someone young and rich like Jared. One should never ask him to reciprocate those feelings. The next morning, Ellen urged Selena to get ready for work. The latter was reluctant to get up from bed, but Ellen's persistence rendered her struggle useless. In the end, they went to work together, with Ellen getting a free ride. Upon arrival, she headed straight to the presidential office. The tranquility filled the whole floor, implying that she had attended work too early. Whoa! In front of the French windows, she gaped at the picturesque scenery vaguely hidden in the shroud of mist. Its surreal beauty could give one the hallucination of being in a utopia. Just as she was deeply absorbed by the scenery, a man's voice resounded. "Have you had breakfast?" She turned her head in surprise to see Jared standing behind her. She stammered with her speech, "President Presgrave, you're early today." He smiled. "I stayed for the night, and I'm on my way for breakfast. Wanna come along?" Ellen indeed came to work too early. It was only 8:20 a.m. "Oh. You haven't had breakfast? What about you?" "Me neither. I haven't eaten the bread I bought," answered Ellen honestly, feeling slightly awkward. "Let's go," then Jared beckoned her over with his finger. "Follow me downstairs." She trailed him into the elevator to head to the underground parking lot. Then, they departed from Presgrave Group in his cool sports car. Compared to the rushing crowd of white-collared workers, the man appeared laid back. Judging from his composed action amidst the fast-paced society, it was as if he held sway over everything. Ellen had a hearty breakfast at the restaurant. "If I work for President Presgrave any longer, I'll unavoidably gain a few extra pounds. I don't even feel like I'm working." Jared enjoyed his breakfast while his gaze glued onto the girl as though it was his duty to ensure she filled her stomach. When he noticed she stopped halfway through her meal, he questioned, "Why stop?" It was not that she could not finish it, but her stomach was filled to the brim. Furthermore, the epiphany of the importance of keeping fit just struck her. She would look different if she put on a few extra pounds. I am trying to lose weight." "I can't have too much," Ellen replied truthfully. She could lie with a deadpan face in front of Selena, yet it seemed like she could not do the same to him. "What weight?" Jared scanned her from head to toe, realizing that her proportion was perfect when his gaze swept across her chest. "My waist is getting plumper," she grumbled. "I don't think so," he refuted. "It might not seem like it, but that is the truth. Didn't I hug you the day we hiked? You're too thin to me. You should have some more." The smile on Jared's face made him glow. In the face of his engaging smile, Ellen blushed so hard that her heart raced. At that moment, she realized one of the benefits of working by his side. Sharing the same space with him is testing my heart's limit. He keeps pushing the acceleration. I can't take it anymore. Finish them. Don't waste, he cooed. Hearing that, she found no other reason to stop eating because she was only half full. People were jostling each other to get on the train for work, yet she spent her morning with a lovely breakfast with her boss. On top of that, she could relish in her coffee as the slanted morning sunlight crawled through the French windows, warming her up. If this is how it feels to be working, it must be a guilty pleasure. Suddenly, her phone rang. Realizing it was Harvey, she turned on the silent mode and put it aside. "Why aren't you picking up?" "It's that guy again. I don't feel like talking to him." Yet, Jared reached out for her phone to answer the call. "Hello. Hey, isn't this Ellen's number? Who are you?" Harvey was surprised. "Yes, it is. I'm her boyfriend." "Who are you?" Jared interrogated coldly. I'm her friend." Harvey stuttered. "I don't care who you are, but leave Ellen alone," warned Jared before ending the call. His actions confounded Ellen as her expression went blank for a couple of moments, but she was thankful for his help nevertheless. He placed her phone in front of her. "Let's go elsewhere." "Where?" His silence was the only response she received. After that, he drove his sports car to a smartphone store to purchase her a new phone. Ellen also thought it was time to change a new one, but the man had swiped his card before she could foot the bill. "President Presgrave, why you don't have to do that. I can afford it." She tried to stop him. "Think of it as a gift from me," he smiled, taking pleasure in buying her stuff. "I wouldn't feel at ease." Ellen blushed bright red. He treated her so kindly, but she had nothing to repay him. "You don't have to feel bad about it. I'm always happy to help." Jared's smile was dazzling. Ellen blushed once again under his beaming smile. She realized she would feel quite guilty if someone treated her too nicely. "President Presgrave, I would like to buy you a present." "What do you think would be a suitable present?" Ellen asked. "Just show me a smile," Jared replied. Ellen was initially quite shocked before pursing her lips and saying, "I'm being serious." "I'm also being serious here." Jared enjoyed teasing her and seeing her face turn bright red. She looked adorable. Ellen was tickled by that and burst into laughter as she smiled at him. Ellen was wearing a white shirt which gave her a slightly charming air. She looked like a budding flower about to bloom in the wee hours of the morning. She appeared to be concealing her shyness and coyness within. To Jared, her smile felt like a gift to him and made him feel quite joyful. Jared accepted her smile as repayment. After looking at his wristwatch for the time, he said, "Come on. Come along with me to the company for a meeting." Both of them had just walked out of the phone shop when a pedestrian suddenly rushed toward them and nearly bumped into Ellen. Ellen had barely reacted when she felt a strong arm grab her around her waist, and then there was a tug at her waist. At that point, Ellen fell into a man's firm chest. Her chest bounced against his body. A slightly pleasant scent hit Jared's nostrils, and he lowered his head to look at the girl in his arms. Her body scent caused his body to tighten, and for a moment, he felt a sensation rush at him on this pleasant morning. Jared's handsome face flushed for a few seconds, and he didn't expect that he would develop such thoughts toward Ellen. As he drove toward the office, Jared's eyes flickered slightly. The reaction he had from this morning caused some slight turmoil in him. He had helped Ellen so much purely because she needed help, and he didn't approach her with any underlying motives. After they arrived at the company, Ellen went back to her office. Jared requested her to make him a cup of coffee and send it to his office at 10:30. Ellen held a cup of coffee and came to the third meeting room. She gently knocked on the door and pushed it open. Instantly, the atmosphere inside the meeting room caused her heart to skip a beat. Everyone's so solemn here. The projector was on, so the meeting room lights were slightly dimmed. Ellen focused her eyes on the man in the center of the room, and he looked as if he was royalty shrouded in darkness. He exuded an air exclusive to a person of authority, but when matched with his young face, the aura he emitted seemed exceptionally at odds. At the same time, he was captivating, and one couldn't help being attracted to him. Ellen placed the cup of coffee in front of him and heard him chuckle in a low voice. "Thanks." She blushed and turned around to leave. As soon as she walked out of the meeting room, she sighed. Jared emitted a totally different aura when he was at work, and she didn't even dare to breathe in front of him nor dare to cast eyes at him. Ellen went back to her office and heard her landline go off. She headed over and reached out to answer the phone. "Hi, who's on the line?" "Ellie, it's me." Selena's voice rang out on the other end. "Selena, do you need something?" "No, I don't need anything. I want to have a chat with you, that's all." "Gosh. Has President Priestgrave's girlfriend arrived? Could you sneakily snap a photo of her to show me?" "His girlfriend isn't here, and I wouldn't dare to sneak a photo either." "Selena, I can't help you with this." Ellen rejected Selena's request. "Why not? What's there to be afraid of?" Selena attempted to incite Ellen. "Selena, it's working hours right now. Don't you have work to do?" "I have nothing to do right now. Can I come upstairs to see you for fun?" I am actually quite busy." Ellen had no choice but to tell a lie. "What are you busy with?" "Anyway, Selena, I don't have time for fun, so don't come upstairs, alright?" "It's working hours right now," Ellen advised Selena. "Snap a photo of President Priestgrave's girlfriend when you have time and send it to me, okay?" Selena requested. Selena refused to give up until she actually saw Jared's girlfriend. "Okay then. I'll take a photo for you if I meet her." Ellen had no choice but to agree. Selena couldn't do anything to Ellen anyway, even if Ellen didn't take the photo. After Ellen hung up the phone, she took out a book she'd brought along and started reading. Reading during her spare time at work could increase her knowledge, which she thought was great. Suddenly, she wasn't aware of when, but a figure approached the window. The man didn't bother her, but merely stood by the window silently and watched admiringly for a short while before leaving. At Connor's house, Harvey's family came to visit Connor. Olivia was just about to ask Harvey about his pursuit of Ellen when Harvey lowered his head disappointedly and said, "Mrs. Aguirre, Ellen has a boyfriend, so it wouldn't be right to pursue her." "What? Ellen has a boyfriend?" "Yes. When I gave her a call this morning, a man answered the call. That man claimed that he was Ellen's boyfriend and told me to stop bothering her." Harvey felt quite annoyed and discontented. "I spent so much money, and yet I didn't even get the chance to hold Ellen's hand." As for Olivia, she couldn't contain her curiosity. "Does Ellen actually have a boyfriend? Since when? Who's the guy?" Olivia suddenly realized that Selena should be with Ellen right now, so she decided to get Selena to find out. If the guy was an ordinary man, it was fine to let Ellen continue the relationship. However, if the guy came from a wealthy family background, then that was unacceptable. After all, Ellen would end up as a threat to them if she had better progress in life. Olivia entered the master bedroom and gave her daughter a call. "Hi, Mum. What's the matter?" "I'm at work right now." Selena answered the phone. "Lena, you live with Ellen right now, don't you?" Do you know that she has a boyfriend? She has a boyfriend? Who told you that? Harvey. He called Ellen this morning, and a man answered her phone. Selena felt quite perplexed. That's not possible. I dropped her off at work this morning. She should be in the office. Then how could a man have possibly answered her phone and claimed to be her boyfriend? Lena, find out what's happening before you return home. At that moment, Selena was quite intent on figuring out the matter and suddenly developed investigational instincts. She was quite keen to find out about the mysterious man hiding behind Ellen. Sure, Mom. I got it. I'll try my best, Selena agreed. After all, she had nothing much on her hands. The other male colleagues fought over completing her work for her. All she had to do was behave coyly, put on an adorable act, and treat the person to lunch. With all those, everything would be sorted perfectly. Ellen went to the office canteen for lunch, so when Jared came over to see her, she was no longer at her desk. After Ellen came back from the canteen, she took a nap lying on her desk. By the time she woke up, it was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so she quickly freshened up. Once she had come to her senses, she went back to the office to be on standby. At that moment, her landline went off, so she answered the call. Hi, Ellen speaking. Come over to my office. It was Jared. Ellen immediately got up and headed to his office. She was wondering which job he needed her to complete, but unexpectedly, he retrieved a takeaway box and placed it in front of her. I wanted to bring you out for lunch this afternoon, but you were not at your desk, so I ordered a dessert as a takeaway for you. I had lunch at the canteen this afternoon. Ellen was surprised by his affectionate act, but she shook her head. President Presgrave, you should keep it for yourself? I'm stuffed. You keep it for your tea break. I bought it specifically for you. Jared was quite insistent as he grabbed her hand and placed the bag into her hand. Ellen bit her lip and thought, this boss is too kind to the point that I'm slightly embarrassed. You can go back to the office now, Jared said to her before getting up to walk over to his desk and starting on work. Ellen didn't want to be disruptive, so she took the takeaway box and returned to her office. She opened the box in her office and saw a dainty dessert inside. The dessert was made from fresh ingredients, and it was quite fragrant and tasty. It definitely looks pricey. Suddenly, Ellen felt tears well up in her eyes. Other than her grandma and brother, this man was the only person who treated her well. She no longer had many memories of her parents because it had been ages since she last saw them. Her brother was the figure who had replaced her parents to take care of and protect her. If Ellen's brother were still around, he would have been 26 years old. Ellen wiped away her tears and sighed. It was nearly time to head home from work when Ellen suddenly received a phone call from Selena saying she was waiting outside in her car. Ellen told Selena she needed a little more time because Ellen had to wait till her boss left before she was allowed to leave. Suddenly, Ellen's landline went off, so she reached out to answer the phone. Hi, President Presgrave. You can finish work now, Jared said to her on the other end of the line. Ellen quickly asked, do you need me to do anything else for you? Jared replied, no, I've got some clients to entertain tonight. You can head home first. Sure. Ellen hung up the phone and finally left the office feeling quite reassured. She took the elevator and as it went, it stopped for the other staff who had also finished work. At the 30th level, a few female staff entered. They were engrossed in gossiping loudly as they walked in. Hey, have you guys heard the news of the female staff at the reception area being transferred to the president's office level? That receptionist must be quite outstanding. Yes. I've heard of that too. President Presgrave was the one who personally arranged for her transfer. She definitely has the means. What is her relationship with President Presgrave? I heard that she's stunning with a great figure. What else could it be between a man and a woman? It's something illicit, of course. If I were prettier, I would parade in front of President Presgrave whenever I had the chance. Perhaps then, I might be able to succeed in seducing him. Haha. You should forget about it. You're a middle-aged lady, so stop having such ridiculous ideas. Ellen blushed bright red in embarrassment. If she was not mistaken, she should be the particular female they were gossiping about. Gosh, President Presgrave is such an outstanding man. That woman must have saved the planet before to gain his attention. The luckiest woman on Earth, so to speak. Yeah, I wonder how it feels to be dating President Presgrave. TSK, he's so hot. I would swoon if he would even cast a second look at me. Asterisk, how does it feel? The kind that you would have a sore waist and find it hard to stand straight the next morning. Ha ha ha. Every female staff inside the elevator burst out laughing. Meanwhile, Ellen, standing in the corner of the elevator, shifted as far back to the corner as possible. She wanted so badly for the ground to swallow her up. These people have such a wild imagination. It was just a promotion. Why did I suddenly become the woman in an illicit relationship with President Presgrave? The elevator finally arrived at the ground floor, and Ellen waited for the female staff to leave before fleeing from the elevator. Her face was flushed bright red. She saw Selena's car parked outside upon walking out of the front entrance, and she immediately headed over and opened the door to take a seat inside. Meanwhile, Selena studied Ellen intently upon seeing her enter the car. Is someone hunting you down? I didn't want to keep you waiting for too long. Selena started the ignition and asked casually, Ellie, do you have a boyfriend? Ellen shook her head frantically. No. I don't have a boyfriend. Selena was engrossed in her thoughts. Mom mentioned that when Harvey called Ellen this morning, a man claiming to be her boyfriend answered the phone, so who's lying? Selena was quite intent on uncovering all of Ellen's deepest secrets. Say, do you want to have spaghetti tonight? Let's go home and make some, Ellen mentioned. Selena didn't want spaghetti at all. Spaghetti again? You've just been promoted, so treat me to a meal at a restaurant. Ellen considered Selena's words before nodding. Okay, let's go. They went for dinner at a restaurant, and upon entering, Selena behaved much more naturally compared to Ellen, who clearly wasn't a frequent visitor. Selena went ahead and ordered $300 worth of food. When it was time to pay, Selena made an excuse to leave and visited the washroom. Ellen was very sporting, and she footed the bill without complaints. She recalled her and her brother being taken into Selena's home when they were kids. It was a kind deed that Ellen knew to repay. On the other hand, Selena was pleased with the meal. When they arrived back at Ellen's house, Selena's bad habits were revealed. Selena was very lazy and didn't even bother to wash her clothes. After taking something from the shelf, she just left it lying around. Meanwhile, Ellen diligently tidied the living room after Selena went back into her room. Shortly after that, Selena came over to chat with Ellen. As they chatted, Selena purposely mentioned that she would like to have some warm milk and requested Ellen to make it for her. Ellie, I have a habit of having warm milk before I go to bed. Please, could you get it for me? Selena pouted and asked coyly. Next, Selena saw Ellen put down her phone and Selena immediately covered the phone with a pillow. Subsequently, Selena swiftly tapped on the phone to prevent the phone from going into lock mode. Ellen nodded. Sure, give me a few minutes. Ellen walked out and Selena instantly took the former's cell phone to check on it. Yes. It's not locked. Selena quickly checked the call history and saw a call log with the name President Presgrave. Suddenly, she felt a rush of exhilaration and quickly grabbed her cell phone to snap his phone number. At that moment, she also discovered that he had given Ellen a call on a weekend morning. Selena quickly tapped into their text messages. As she read their chat history, an intense look of jealousy flashed across her face. Jared and Ellen chatted with each other like friends. Subsequently, Selena checked to see if there were any other men Ellen was in close contact with, but Selena couldn't find any. Is her social circle actually that tiny? Selena found this quite hard to believe. Who's the man that answered her phone this morning? At that moment, Selena was just about to put down the phone when there was a notification of a text message. Selena reached out to tap into the message. Immediately, she was stunned in place. President Presgrave? What are you doing? Are you about to go to bed? This was an intimate question, and it was currently 10 at night as President Presgrave initiated the chat. Selena somehow replied to the message subconsciously, not yet. How about you? I've just ended work and arrived home not long ago. I'm about to take a shower. Oh. President Presgrave, you must have a well-built body. Would you like to check it out? At that moment, Selena felt increasingly flustered as she replied to Jared's text. She didn't expect Jared to be such a flirty person in private. She considered it and wondered whether Ellen would blame her for replying to Jared's text. However, Selena felt an intense yearning within her as she boldly replied, "Yes, I would like to check it out, of course." Thereafter, he sent over a photo soon enough. In the picture, the man lifted his white shirt in front of the camera and revealed his enchanting six-pack abs. He was definitely the most well-built man Selena had ever seen, and she could even see his V-line abs. Selena hurriedly grabbed her cell phone and snapped a photo of that. Gosh. President Presgrave and Ellen are that close to each other? Does that mean if Ellen offers to be with him, he will welcome her with open hands too? Do I look good? He sent another text message. Yes. You look awesome. Is there more? Selena posed as Ellen and asked. Suddenly, a phone call came in on Ellen's phone, and immediately, the phone felt like a piece of hot coal to Selena because the person calling was Jared. This is insane. Selena realized that Ellen would come back inside if she heard her cell phone go off, so she had no choice but to answer the call. A chuckle in a low voice came from the other end of the line. Darling, what else do you want to see? Selena listened to his magnetic voice and sensed the pent-up, contradictory emotions in his voice. He was usually such a solemn man in public, but his voice sounded captivating through the speakers. She didn't dare to make a sound, so she had no choice but to hang up the phone before quickly sending a message as a reply. My cousin's here with me, so it's inconvenient for me to take the call. Good night and rest well. After Selena said that, she swiftly deleted every single message from before. He replied, okay. Good night. After deleting the messages and making sure that Jared stopped sending any messages, Selena finally heaved a sigh of relief. However, she couldn't contain the raging jealous emotions within her. At that instant, Ellen came over with some warm milk. Selena hurriedly flung Ellen's phone aside and pretended nothing had happened. Ellie, I'll head back to my room. Selena took the glass of milk from Ellen after saying that and went back to her room guiltily. Meanwhile, Ellen wanted to look at the time, so she took the pillow aside and found her cell phone tucked underneath. She took it and glanced at the time. 11:00 p.m. I have work tomorrow. Let's stop the game. She decided to shut her eyes and go to bed. As for Selena, she had trouble sleeping in the room next door as she couldn't stop admiring the photo Jared had sent. She became increasingly jealous as she continued to look at the photo. That was because Jared had sent the photo specifically to Ellen. This indicated that, in his mind, he hoped that Ellen was the only one who enjoyed that photo. Selena thought she should feel quite smug to have done what she did, but actually, she felt terrible, and the upset feeling that hit her caused her to have trouble sleeping. Meanwhile, Ellen had a good night's sleep, and the following morning, Ellen knocked on Selena's room to wake Selena up. Finding it tough to get out of bed, Selena told Ellen she wanted to take the day off to catch up on some sleep and told Ellen to go ahead to work alone. Ellen had no choice but to leave for work first, and she hailed a cab to work. Before she arrived at work, Ellen's cell phone went off. She looked at the caller ID and was shocked because it was Jared on the line. "Hello, President Presgrave. Have you arrived at work? Where are you?" "I'm about to arrive." "Don't come upstairs. Wait for me at the entrance, and I'll bring you to get some breakfast." Jared hung up upon saying that and didn't give her a chance to say no. Meanwhile, Ellen felt slightly awkward. Is my job here just to keep him company for meals? This is such an easy job. Although Ellen stood at the entrance, she chose a secluded spot in the corner because she was worried about being the topic of speculation. The gossip she had heard in the elevator yesterday frightened her. Jared was quite eagle-eyed and spotted her, so he accelerated and drove his sports car in front of her. She quickly yanked the door open to take a seat inside as soon as she noticed that Jared had parked the car. Jared directed a complicated look at her with his deep eyes, and Ellen could feel him staring at her, so she blinked. "Is there something on my face?" "No." Jared curved his lips slightly. "This is unexpected. This girl was actually bold enough to titillate me last night, but now she's putting on an innocent front. Is she aware that I was kept awake until 2 in the morning last night because of that?" He couldn't tell why she would want to check out his abs and wondered whether she felt something for him. Jared took the opportunity to look at the lady next to him as he looked in the rearview mirror. She had a dainty face that was quite innocent-looking, and she kept number about her titillating actions last night. "Did you have a good night's sleep last night?" He couldn't help asking. She nodded. "Yes. I did. How would you rate my body?" Jared suddenly wanted her to give a rating. After all, she had seen it at no cost. Hearing that, she blushed bright red and stared aghast at her big boss. What's wrong with President Presgrave today? Why did he suddenly want me to rate his body? It's great. It's better than a model's figure. Ellen could only choose some complimentary words. Besides, he did actually have an exceptional figure. So, do you like it? Jared turned his head and asked. At that point, Ellen blushed bright red once again, and she replied brazenly, every girl would like it. What's wrong with President Presgrave? Ellen was quite dumbfounded deep down. Meanwhile, Jared curved his lips into a smile. That means she actually loves it, huh? No wonder it wasn't enough for her last night, and she wanted to see more. What else does she actually want from me? There is only my face left. Other than my figure, is she hinting at something else? Ellen, do you like me? Jared suddenly asked. At that point, Ellen's mind buzzed. Did President Presgrave get dumped by someone? Why is he suddenly randomly asking someone whether they like him or not? Of course, I do. You're my boss, so how could I possibly dislike you? Ellen replied with a smile. What if I wasn't your boss? Would you still like me? Jared asked. Ellen's reply was not to his liking. She nodded once again. Yes, I would still like you. After Jared heard that, he kept having a feeling that she wasn't sincere and sounded perfunctory. Shouldn't she be specific and list out what she likes about me? She wasn't ambiguous like this when she teased me last night. Just then, they arrived at the breakfast joint, and Ellen finally got out of the car with slightly wobbly knees as soon as he parked the car. There is something wrong with President Presgrave today. Why is he acting so strange? Ellen trudged along upstairs by trailing after the man in front of her. At the same time, she couldn't stop studying his body from top to bottom. His figure is even more perfect than a model's. His clothes also perfectly accentuate that. Ellen cupped her chin with her hands after they had taken a seat and ordered their meal. Inadvertently, Her eyes met his as he stared at her from across the table. Her heart raced in response. The look in President Presgrave's eyes is strange. Why does he keep staring at me? Is there some dirt on my face? President Presgrave, did I do something wrong? Ellen asked gingerly. Jared immediately continued the topic unfinished from the previous night and restarted the conversation. Other than my body, what else would you like to check out? Ellen looked at him red-faced. Since when did I say that I wanted to check out his body? Other than his body, what else could I check out? Why does his question sound so intimate? Red as a tomato, Ellen considered the situation for quite some time but couldn't seem to come up with a suitable reply to this intimate question. Subsequently, she gulped and said, President Presgrave, did someone dump you? His questions were just too unusual, and it felt like he was trying to prove his masculinity. Could it be because some woman broke up with him? Jared was taking a sip of water, and upon hearing her question, he choked on the water and sputtered. He coughed softly for a moment before lifting his head to stare at her with glittering eyes. What sort of question is that? I don't even have a girlfriend, so how could I possibly be dumped? I had trouble sleeping last night because of you. Don't you think you should make up for it? Jared said this with a huff. Ellen was confused from the moment she met him today. At that instant, she was even more so perplexed. Caused him to have trouble sleeping? How? And I am supposed to make up for it? President Presgrave, could you make things clearer? How did I cause you to lose sleep? What did I do to you last night? Ellen blinked her large eyes and revealed an innocent look. Jared had no choice but to take out his phone and retrieve last night's chat history to show her. Refresh your memory. She couldn't help but reach out for his cell phone to take a look. Her pretty eyes widened, and her mouth was agape when she saw their chat history last night. When did I talk about this with him last night? I actually requested that he take a photo to show me too. As she looked at the photo of him revealing his abs, she couldn't help but take another look. Subsequently, Ellen took out her cell phone to check their chat history from her end, but she saw nothing at all. She couldn't help recalling that last night, during that period, she had gone to warm some milk for Selena. Maybe Selena chatted with him using my phone? That must be it. Ellen was mortified and angered inside. How could she do something like that? She conveniently took my phone and chatted about such an intimate topic with President Presgrave. How am I supposed to end this? Ellen always behaved respectably, but looking at last night's chat history, the things she said made her seem so lustful. Do I really have to tell him that the things yesterday were sent by Selena? It would make the situation even awkward. In the end, Ellen had no choice but to take the rap for everything. Oh. Yesterday I drank some alcohol, so I was a little wasted. President Presgrave, please don't be mad at me. That were just some random things I said. Please don't take them to heart. Ellen could only conjure up a random excuse. Meanwhile, Jared narrowed his eyes slightly. Why did you drink alcohol so late at night? Well, I found it hard to go to sleep, so I drank a tiny glass, Ellen said with a bright red face before looking at him awkwardly. I'm not secretly interested in you, all right? After Jared heard her explanation, his expression turned darker than before. She is not interested in me but purely enjoys checking out my body, huh? Don't drink alcohol unnecessarily next time, and don't send such titillating stuff to anyone else randomly. Jared instructed her domineeringly. Ellen immediately nodded in response. She promised meekly, I promise I won't. Jared was significantly vexed. After all that, she isn't interested in me at all? It was just her rambling in a drunken state. Meanwhile, she was also quite frustrated deep inside. Using my phone to chat with Jared and then deleting the chat history? This has crossed the line. She had agreed to allow Selena to stay with her, but that didn't mean Selena was allowed to breach her privacy in this way. President Presgrave, I'm sorry if I have offended you. Please forgive me, Ellen apologized because she found that her actions were truly affrontive. That's all right. Jared lifted his brows and glanced at her. Actually, I enjoy being affronted like this. After breakfast, Jared returned to the company with her for a meeting. As for Selena, she finally got out of bed. After rummaging in the kitchen for food for quite some time but to no avail, Selena went downstairs to grab a bite. She opened the door and waited for the elevator with her bag in her hand. Soon, the elevator arrived. Ping! Selena was startled when the elevator doors opened.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.